Yeah, yeah. It's a Morgan. So the interesting thing as well.
Shall we get started?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, welcome to our show and tell. So today's all just about around what we've been doing so far. So we have lots of speakers today. Yeah, so first off, we're going to talk a little bit about the work we've been doing around segmentations, some of our training, recruitment stuff, our prototype that we've been working on, as well as publishing reports. So yeah, I'll hand it over to Chris, our user researcher.
Cool. Hello, everyone. I'm going to give you a little bit of an update on some work we've been doing this side of Christmas on segmenting service teams. This is classifying the service teams into groups based on shared characteristics. And I think we're doing this just to sort of step back a little bit. Before Christmas, we did a load of work on the alpha. We took it out and about. We tested it with 4 service teams around the country, and we learned a load of stuff, which we're still going through. But I think what we've been trying to work out in our team is what are the characteristics of these different service teams. Have we spoken to a load of service teams that are broadly similar, or are these actually kind of representative of kind of a range of service teams that we have contact with GDS? And also, are there service teams that are kind of not in our orbit? The ones we've included are people that we have some kind of relationship with. So we've been having a bit of a think about that. And over Christmas, we did a task as a team. I didn't do this, I was away on a honeymoon. But the standards assurance managers basically went through all the teams that they have been dealing with over the last year in terms of service assessment, created a key and classified the service team based on a series of characteristics. So it was quite a fun task, lots of stickers. And I think, yeah, there's a few reasons why we felt this was a really important thing to do, and it's to identify which teams we still need to test our alpha with. It's to provide a framework for the ongoing analysis of the alpha user research. And I think it's also to help us prioritise the user needs for different types of service teams. I'll talk to you at subsequent sessions about some of the work we're doing on our user needs, because we had some user needs at the outset of the alpha, and we've actually gone back and we've reviewed those with sort of fresh eyes. So we're doing some work on those at the moment. But we're also starting to think that there might be, for different types of service teams, different priorities in terms of the user needs. And I think this piece of work on the segmentation will help us with that. I think it's also to help us determine whether there is actually, with this alpha, a one-size assurance model that at some point in the future we'll roll out. Our model at the moment is about continuous engagement, visiting service teams regularly, finding out how they're doing, spending a bit of time immersing with them, but doing it on quite a frequent basis. It might be for more competent service teams that kind of model is not appropriate. We don't know yet. Until we work out the different types of service teams, we can't really answer this question with any kind of certainty. This is based on this activity we did over Christmas. This is the first cut we had at classifying types of service teams that the standards assurance managers come in contact with. And it's actually kind of reassuring. So like basically saying 38% of service teams in our view coming in for assessment know what they're doing. So it's quite good that that's falling out at the top. And also 29% want advice and involvement. Looking back to today, I was thinking about this. It's not completely surprising that we've classified 1 in 4 teams as not knowing how to do, knowing about user research or how to do it, because that is the point that fails most on the service assessment. I think some analytics work we did last year showed that about 85% of failures were in some way related to user research. So it shows that our thinking is starting to line up to an extent with the analytics we've got on this. But this is very much the first cut. It's a subjective judgment, but I think you've got to start somewhere if you're putting together segmentation. I think these are the themes I've observed coming out of our work so far. We've still got some work as a team to do, but it feels that our segmentation will have these aspects. So elements of capability are those themes in the key. Constraints appear to be a big part about how we're classifying service teams, whether constraints in the team or kind of imposed by departments. And there's also this engagement thing with GDS, whether people know about us in the first place or that know about us and choose whether or not to engage with us. So based on this first cut, that's coming through quite strong. So yeah, we'll keep you posted. This one.
Okay, as you may have heard, we're recruiting new assessors. We've come up with with 5 steps to become a GDS assessor. The first one is we put together an assessor job description that you're probably seeing, because it's been circulated. That details the eligibility. The main points for eligibility are working in government for at least 5 months and working on a digital product, building it in line with the service standards. So that's what we're looking for. You can then apply to be an assessor through the JD we've got out. We'll then look for a reference from either the head of community or the departmental service assurance lead if it's somebody from a department applying to assess for GDS. We'll then, after we got the reference through, we'll then invite the applicant for training, which we're holding on a monthly basis at the moment. And then the final part is we recommend that they observe at least 2 assessments before we feel comfortable that they're ready to assess. So I think, how many have we done so far? We've done 2 training sessions and about 35 people, yeah, so it's going well. So anyone you know who would be eligible, would be interested in becoming an assessor, then please send that document on to them. That's it from me.
So yeah, one of the things we're doing as part of just improving how we're currently working is looking at some of our processes. One of the things that we know is just time consuming and doesn't really have any value to it is working out when exactly teams can come for an assessment. So we sort of mapped out most of that journey through picking your assessment date through to sort of actually getting a calendar invite and it confirmed in. Over the sort of Christmas period, Sola and I had a go at prototyping, just an initial request a date for your service assessment. So we used the GovUK prototype kit, and the next thing we're going to do is test this with service teams, and well, we've tested it with ourselves, but we can do some sort of more formal research with Chris doing that.
Yes, we will.
So hopefully it will cut down on the amount of time we spend emailing back and forth, just swapping dates with people, basically. It's kind of completely unnecessary in this day and age.
Will that be assessed?
Yeah, why not? Maybe. Alice will
Yes,
handle
it
it.
I would try.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's going to get rid of force it through.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean it's definitely under 100,000 transactions because I can't imagine us ever wanting to assess so many services. Is there even that many services? So what I wanted to just share with you is the progress we've made around publishing reports. So you can now find them on gov.uk in a finder. So there's a link. I'll actually go to the page itself. That would probably be more handy. So let's just load it up. Cool. Yeah, so you can see that we've published like a whole bunch of reports, so you can go in, have a look at them. At the moment, it doesn't really split it out into whether it's alpha, beta, live, or whether it's internally assessed by departments or by GDS. Those are some of the things that we hope to build into the finder in the future as we find out what people are using the reports for. But you can now go in here and basically look, find some of the old reports around how people have progressed. So it's essentially the same reports that we would send to service teams, but now it's just published on gov.uk, so it's completely transparent. We've also asked all the departments to send in their reports that are done internally, so the self-certified ones for services under 100,000. So we'll be also publishing those up on this, but it's going to take a bit of time before we kind of catch up on all the reports we haven't published last year. And yeah, that's it for our show and tell. Is there any questions about any of the various topics we've spoken about, or anything else you are curious about the team?
Should that be linked to the service manual? Is it already linked to the service
So we're starting to kind of like promote it a little bit more. So we did have a chat to a couple of people in the content team. So we do want to kind of link that from the service manual. We just haven't done it yet. Although we can ask Alice on how to get that to happen.
Can you put field validation in the submit request for assessment to say whether there's a verb or not in the service?
We can. Well, we'll need to ask our users to see if it's what they would like. We yeah. I mean, I'm sure there's value in adding some extra guidance around it, but we're hoping that through some of the work we're doing with the alpha, that we've already spoken to teams about what they're calling their service. So they're not coming to the date when they're picking their service and they're kind of like, oh, you know, I've got a really poor name for my service. Any other questions?
That's another bit of work that Kelly's doing, is working out what questions we have, or that as assessors you want us to ask of service teams before they come for assessments. Other things that we can sort of either deal with before an assessment, or that would be useful to know so that we can ask more relevant questions in an assessment.
I think that there's probably a wider point around the name consistency, and when do services get to the point where they should be defining their name. That's probably at alpha. You should have a proper service name by that point, and how we're testing that, how we're ensuring consistency in terms of service name, in terms of what we refer to at the point where they're going to spend approval through alpha to when they're defining the service name, and from that point onwards. So I think on the Verta, on the assessment reports, when I'm sorting out service domain names and when they apply for funding, it's all like there's not that consistency. So yeah, just
I mean, some teams are still sort of trying to work out what the best name to call their service is. So we've seen teams change their name throughout the different phases, which is really confusing.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's,
looking for reports and they've got
Yeah.
three different
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
it's that difficulty in tracking between spend approval, like requests, and tracking from that point to the actual services.
We want to get better at it. So with some of the work the spend control team is doing on the pipeline thing, so we're trying to get the pipeline part and the assurance, the assessments part more aligned. But I think that's something that we will look at well into the future. Then.
Are you doing anything about aligning with the start page process on GoDK?
What do you?
Assessment? Because I just remember this question that was there when I was in the team, because they have to go through separate approvals when they go on GoDK.
Yeah, so the launching service at the public beta, so content's doing some work on that at the moment as well. So, but yeah, there's stuff going on with content, policy engagement, and assessments.
Okay.
So in terms of this load up here, is there a template that you'd like us to start using for internal assessments that we hand over to you, or are you happy for us to continue?
At the moment, I don't think we give internal departments and template, do we?
Yeah, so you're happy
Yeah.
for us to use the web.
Yeah, I mean, we are going through and working with the content team on a template that we think will be better for our assessments. So when we get some more feedback on that, and if we know that it works, it's something that we will share with departments. No other questions, and that's it for today. Yeah, come back again in 2 weeks' time.
Talking of service domains, Raise Online should not be called Raise Online.